Hey guys, welcome to the Supergirl After Show on thestream.tv. I'm Jenna Bush with Legion of Leia.
I am Eric Eisenberg from Cinema Blend.
And I am Jacob Smith from Iowa.
All right, okay. So this week we are talking all about the Luthors.
Yeah, this is a big Luthor week.
Yeah, which is cool because I like Katie McGrath.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
And it's also, it's been kind of a minute since we actually got to experience this story. Like, because it's really, I mean, since the mid-season especially, they've kind of been exploring some other areas, and they finally kind of brought it back to what's the main story for this entire season so far.
Which is really cool, because I mean, I like the side stuff. I totally dig the side stuff. That's cool, but I really like the sort of the main storyline, the through line for the season. So.
Sure. And I liked it really being focused in on them too. Like just stick with the family for a minute. Let us get in there.
Yeah. So okay. So let's talk Luthors. So this week, Lillian is a jerk.
Shocker! Yeah, I know that's a whole new one.
Manipulating her very lovely daughter and twisting her brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Luthors do, as
right.
yeah, I mean
they are twisty.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of a whole big thing in this episode, which is that like, if you have the last name Luthor and you exist within the DC universe, you are not to be trusted. And like, pretty much everyone was of that opinion in this episode, except for Kara, who, you know, given her relationship with her cousin, probably should be on the anti-Luthor side. But to her credit, she stuck with it and like innocent till proven guilty. Go Kara.
Yeah, and there's a lot of through this whole season. There's been a lot of stuff about how. Supergirl's belief in people, or Kara's belief in people, always pays off. Although by the end of the episode, we're not so sure.
That's
but
right.
Yeah,
she believes in Lena through the whole thing, and you know, sometimes unshakable faith is good, sometimes not so much. Sometimes it's just, you know.
Did you guys ever think that maybe, like, just throughout the episode, obviously we were kind of given the impression that Lena was kind of being taken out of her own element. Did you guys ever think, though, that maybe she was just playing them the entire time, or?
I considered it because that's usually what a writer would do. But I feel like there were definitely reaction shots where she wasn't around other people that I was like, nah, she's not. Well, she doesn't want to be a Luthor.
And I had the thought right at the beginning, like right when they kind of established like what was going to be happening in the episode. I was like, okay, she's, you know, they're clearly setting her up for this. Right. Like, you know, she's going to have that terrible twist. And then, you know, I was like the typical viewer on this one. I think I just went along the whole journey.
With her eyes,
like, she's evil. No, she's good. No, she's maybe evil. And then she's sinister again at the end. Like, so I went back and forth like the whole time.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
No, I mean, my main thing was just like the fact that they didn't like after Hank Henshaw came in and like broke her out of prison. The fact that you didn't actually see much of what happened after that sequence, I was like, well, maybe she's on Lillian's side. I don't know. But I mean, ultimately, but yeah, I mean, but I think that does open up a bigger question, which is like whether or not like the projection of like Lena for the rest of the season, which is like kind of open-ended given everything that we've seen kind of going back and forth. And honestly, I don't even really know who I'm, like, which side I kind of want her to end up on.
I want her to be good because I want her to have friends. No, but I think it's sort of interesting because they have given her a reason to possibly go over. She desperately wants to be loved by her adoptive mom. Right. We know now that she is indeed a Luthor, but so if we have her evil, does that kind of say that it's genetic? 'Cause...
And then even more, too, I think the ending almost felt like she was playing even her mother, too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting thought, yeah. Because she did do that last.
Yeah, like maybe not even on the same team, but like kind of running everybody.
Yeah, so maybe maybe we're completely misinterpreting the chess move, and we're like it's actually
maybe
she's playing up against them.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought that I kind of like.
I like that. One thing I did notice that that Lillian mentioned, she was like, we have no Luthor men to interfere, so we can be the strong women together. And I thought that was a weird little, I mean, interesting and well done, but an interesting little play on the feminist sort of thread that's gone through since season 1. Yeah. But used in a kind of a twisted way.
No, absolutely. I mean, that is kind of the whole. I mean, that's such a purpose of Supergirl just existing. I mean, every other show in the DC like TV universe. I mean, obviously male-centric. I mean, I guess Legends of Tomorrow has lead female characters, but like this one has the opportunity to have real female-centric stories, and it's why like we don't have Lex Luthor. Though this episode does make me wonder if we might see him before the end of the season.
It seems like it.
Especially because, like, I mean, I mean, in season 1, we didn't get Superman, and it was a very purposeful choice not to give us Superman, specifically because, like, if you have Superman, that kind of takes away attention from Supergirl. But if you're going to start this season and you are going to have Superman on there, I feel like you got to have Lex.
I think you can, too. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him, and we did obviously see him as a little kid.
Right.
But and I think they handled that really well, because obviously we didn't do this last season, so we should actually talk about that, because Superman, I think, was so well handled.
Yes.
So well handled. Love him a lot. But I think that, and I think they couldn't have really done it season 1, because if they had, I mean, then it makes it about Superman and not about her, and I think it's very important that we have a female-fronted superhero show. Sorry, off my soapbox. Well, actually, no, I'm not at all off my soapbox.
Never, ever.
No, but I think it's really cool, and I think that they've done that really well. So, but I would be shocked if we don't see him, or at least some hint of him maybe going into season 3.
Superman or Lex Luthor?
Oh, Lex.
Oh, Lex, yeah.
Lex,
okay. I mean, do you think that we should bring him on the show?
I think he will. It seems like by the end of the season, just to, if nothing, like to push it into the next season. But I think you're exactly right. Like, you know, the teasing of Superman in season 1. It kind of mirrors a little bit like teasing Lex Luthor now. So.
I say last shot of the season is the back of a bald head. I'm calling it right now.
Like, I like that. I mean, like, my kind of the thing is that, like, because I mean, the fact that they have Superman at the beginning of this season, obviously they're going to bring him back to have some kind of conclusion, and so you can have that escalation on the hero side. But like the fact that we are now, this is, I mean, we didn't have really Lillian Luthor in the first season, like Lena Luthor, like the fact that they are kind of building up the Luthor clan within this universe, like it feels like you could escalate to the point where eventually, I mean, because within the continuity, Lex is currently in prison, off God knows where, but could the season end with a jailbreak? Why not?
Yeah, because we did see some very interesting toys.
Yes, exactly.
Let's talk about the toys.
Well, I mean, I did make a quick note of them. We got the war suit, which of course could do. I mean, I do wonder if we're ever going to see some of the, like, both the war suit and the atomic axe. Like, I'm not sure whether we'll see it, but the fact that we have seen the Black Mercy already in the adaptation of. The Man Who Has Everything, or I guess the Girl Who Has Everything. I don't remember the name of the episode title. But the fact that we, I like that they like have those little kind of elements from the comics. And I mean, hell, if they do have Luke, eventually have Lex on the show, do I want to see him get into in his battle armor? Hell yeah!
Of course.
Where it's. All right, I'm done. I'm not.
Though I guess I mean we should also be mentioning the kind of mystery box that she found that she Lillian didn't even know what it was. So. Thoughts, theories?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Also, we had a tiny little skip in our feed when that happened. So if they did, in fact, go, here is what it is.
Within like the 2 seconds skip that we had in our TiVo recording.
It's a Nerf ball.
Right, of course. Yeah, that's Supergirl's greatest anime.
Kryptonite Nerf ball. Yeah, speaking of kryptonite.
Yes.
Bad kryptonite. Bad synthetic kryptonite. Only go natural.
And yeah, like I liked bringing back Metallo, because I'd say that a couple problems that I've had, like especially with the last 2 episodes, has been the fact that, like, I mean, Supergirl she's Supergirl. She's a Kryptonian. She has these incredible powers. So having a real challenge to come up against has been like not great. Like as powerful as a White Martian is, it's not. So to bring Metallo back and actually have like kryptonite, though, I guess we should have a conversation about kind of some of the logic within the action and the kind of this whole thing works, because I know you guys kind of stumbled upon some of those.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can start with, since I wasn't here last week, I will mention last week where, you know, you've got the building's going to blow in 15 minutes. The clock is ticking down, but we're going to have an Alex and Kara heart-to-heart, and also a Jean and Megan heart-to-heart.
Right, at the same time,
but clock ticking, what are you doing? Okay.
Hurry.
Yes.
Hurry up.
Please. You have other things to do. So this week, we had a couple of weird things. One of them is, does everyone at the DEO know that Kara is Supergirl? Because she's just there.
Yeah.
And like my sister's visiting
they don't
today.
Really, they don't compartmentalize that information at all.
No. Like don't do anything super secret because my sister, the reporter, is here.
As always.
Yeah. And then they call her Kara a couple of times, not just when she's in danger.
Call out to her.
Yeah. There were 2 Karas, then a Supergirl, and then 2 Karas. So that made no sense. And then she's like,
Yeah, the full-on clothes changing on the way out the door.
Building, right?
Someone's going to see that.
I do feel like in season 1 that they were more about kind of like her only being Supergirl when in the DEO. Like she's not Kara, but I guess they've gotten a little bit sloppy.
they had the thing with the hands on the fire together. Maybe they're just all like this, and they all know now.
Bonding, sure.
And the wardrobe department, I think.
That's true.
They're like, we want some more options.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's fine if everyone there knows. I was just unaware that everyone there
Right,
knew.
exactly.
So I'm just.
I mean, the fact
saying.
that, like, I mean, I guess by contrast, the fact that, like, Wynn and John didn't know that Alex was gay,
Yeah.
like, the distance between information here is,
It's a very
like,
good
yeah, it's a weird spread. The other thing, though, that, like, just caught me off was, like, 10 seconds, like, less than 10 seconds after Wynn tells Supergirl that Metallo, like, he's only going to explode faster if he's shooting out beams. She throws something at him, forcing him to shoot his beam.
Don't throw stuff at
And it was a real softball, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, she just
Just like,
tossed it
wasn't actually like tossing at him quickly.
I dare you
like,
not
I got
to
this.
shoot
this, right? Which,
Yeah, that
so
was
like
a
stuff
little
like
weird.
that. It's a bit silly. And I mean, I guess like if we are going to have the discussion just about kryptonite, the fact that they were as easily able to get away from that explosion as they were,
Right.
which given the amount of setup, also like I didn't entirely get the sense that they were completely in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because they were like, if you're anywhere near it, bad things will happen. But
Right.
I mean, they flew out of the
They were
cloud.
super close to it,
Yeah.
coming out of there.
Yeah, I feel like that wasn't as dangerous as they made it sound. So.
And we were saying too, like maybe they could have blown up the entire area, gone to commercial, come back, and we see them fly
and then
away.
we see them maybe
Right.
survive.
Instead of-
Or or just I mean, because I mean, if we're being perfectly honest, we don't expect the show to ever like realistically kill off Supergirl.
Yeah.
But like, we can create some false drama. I mean,
give me
hang
a
on
minute.
to.
I
There's
don't know.
24 episodes in a season. There
happened
can't be something to
with
go.
Buffy.
Yeah,
So,
there
yeah.
you go.
I mean,
Exactly.
they killed Buffy.
Something to think about while I'm peeing.
You're right.
Exactly.
Like,
Wow, that was
oh.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
All right. Well, all right. So let's talk about the bar because that was adorable. That made me
then
very
they actually
happy.
have the coming out scene, which
It was really cute. Like, oh yeah. Where Mon-el's like, you guys are together. Was that like a bad thing here?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's completely natural, and like I like that direction for this relationship
Yeah,
in the
me too.
show, simply because like I mean again like to go back 2 weeks ago, there was still the whole like Alex and Maggie like new relationship drama, and like oh my God, is this too much? Are they gonna be able to like stay together?
Yeah.
But now it's just gonna like okay, no, they're just a relationship,
just
and
together.
let's not worry
And I
about
love that
this
was
anymore.
everybody's reaction. Like,
Yeah.
like nobody really seemed like put out by the fact, and everybody just, oh, that's cool. What's that? A big deal? What are you kind of?
I know. I liked Sean's line where he's like, well, yeah, psychic.
Psychic, right? Of course I know.
That's, congratulations. Also, and I know this has nothing to do with Maggie and Alex, but Poole's geometry with sticks. That made me very happy.
Yeah, and I mean, I like to think that that's how Wynn would think about those kind of
Yeah.
things. It makes a certain degree of sense.
Yeah, and so
pretty good point.
I think next week weirdly is the Valentine's Day episode, so which we'll get to next week. But I originally had thought it was going to be Alex and Maggie centric, and I was all happy, and then it wasn't.
But no, we're getting Mr.
Not at all.
Mixapidalic, which
No.
I'm the only person allowed to say that now.
Yes, I can't say it. No, I can spell it. No, I can't even do
And
that.
I can't say it backwards, so I'm completely screwed in that sense.
Learn that.
Yeah, I will have to do that. That's for next time. But I guess if we are going to be talking about romance, we should talk about mon-el and Kara, because we've discussed this relationship before. I'm personally not a huge fan.
No, don't like it.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
I think it's cute, but part of me also kind of feels like with the way most of the themes go, I don't know that she totally needs to be a girl with a crush.
Yes, I don't necessarily want to have her hook up with anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like that she's kind of had a couple of guys that's like, maybe, no, just kind of throw it away and I'm fine.
If she's gonna do it, it should be with James.
Yeah. Which they kind of set up in season
They
1
did,
and
they
kind
did.
of moved.
But there was
aside
a
little bit.
look this week. There
Sure.
could have been, but I honestly, I don't care. I don't really, I actually enjoy when there isn't that with the main character.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, because it's weird because it does seem to be a persistent thing within these superhero shows. Like, I mean, Arrow, Laurel, I can't stand Laurel. I'm just like, that's like, and it was the worst in season 1 when you had the kind of will they, won't they with Oliver, which you can't stand. But then in season 1 of The Flash, they did the exact same thing with Iris. And it's just like, it's in every single one of these superhero shows, and it never fails to feel forced. Even in a case where you have like Barry and Iris, who are are destined to be together, like it still feels like okay, we're still dedicating time to this. This seems kind of tired.
Yeah, I don't feel. I mean, it's not that I don't. It's not that I don't want Kara to find love. It's just
She can have it all.
She can have it all, and there was that whole discussion about whether or not she can have it all. Like
Right.
I get that, But I think she's busy superheroing right now. I mean, it just seems like that's more important.
And certainly Mon-el isn't superheroing. For
no, and I
reason.
feel like she's smarter than, like, you know, I mean.
He's just tending bar.
Right, yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, after 2 weeks after he said that he was going to be a superhero.
And the thing that made her go, oh, maybe we should be together is he's been drinking club soda too. What?
Yeah,
you like the same wine that I like, so we are destined to be together.
Yeah.
I just feel like the two of them don't really fit. I just, you know, like I believed her and James because I just felt like they had the same sort of level of
and even right out of the gates, like it felt like there was something between them.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, another part of it is just the fact that, like, Mon-el, outside of his relationship to Kara, like, is he interesting? No. Not really. They have been setting up this kind of twist that he has some kind of big dark secret.
That we think he might be the prince.
Right, but they've been like stretching that out so much, and part of that comes with the fact that it's like 24, like I mean 20-something episodes. You have to kind of drag it out, which is also, I mean, also explains why the past couple episodes haven't been dealing with Cadmus and the Luthors. So like, yeah, it's kind of a stretching game. But like, yeah, I need more to Mon-el. Like, he needs to be like, he can't just be in the bar. He needs to be out actually being a productive part of the story beyond just a romantic interest.
Right, and it's not that we can't. Oh, sorry. It's not that we can't stretch out his story. It's just that I don't buy her falling for him with this level of what he is. Like, maybe there's something more interesting. Maybe, I mean, not that he needs to be a prince for her to fall, because I'm not.
We've seen enough of that.
Yeah, no, but I think there needs to be more substance to him. Like, I could have bought her with Win too, because I could have. And I mean, I don't think that would have worked, but I mean, at least he has substance. And
sure.
You know.
But I mean, they kind of course corrected in the right way, and I know you wanted to say something, but like in the first season, they did have like Win constantly like going after character appreciation, like, and that was tired also. Like that I didn't appreciate. Like I didn't like that either. Unfortunately, they moved away from it, and they made it. It's much better. Win's a much more interesting character because he's just not like the kid who's like yearning after the Superwoman. Like that's that's
now
unnecessary.
He's super cool genius.
Exactly. So
and it makes me like him better too at this point. And with Mon-el, it's like even when he's not in the bar, he's like talking about stuff that happened in the bar. Right. like cute little phrases he learned while he was bartending.
I learned this at the bar. And I want to know what you guys think about this because we've had so many TV shows lately that are really, you know, short, like 10 episodes, all the cable stuff that we see on Netflix. Do you think sometimes the 22-episode seasons or 21 episodes seem stretched out a little bit?
Yes. I think it is, honestly, it's a problem with television at this point. Because, I mean, the reality is that that's an old world method. Like, this is back when in the 80s and 90s and so on and so forth, when you'd have these 20 episodes. Like, that was before streaming, before home video.
Yeah.
It's just, like, because you need it for the advertising space. But now everything is streaming online. So, like, you can have a perpetual audience even without the show being on every single week. And people aren't necessarily watching it live. They're all binging. And so it's just the system isn't really built to have these long, drawn-out seasons anymore because you end up just having episodes where they're just spinning
like
wheels
filler.
and doing nothing. Yeah.
And even like maybe if Lost had been doing 10-episode seasons, they would have ended it while it was still.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's endemic throughout. And like even some episodes, like there's even an argument to be made that even like for the Marvel Netflix shows, that being 13 episodes, there's still a little bit too much.
Some filler.
Which is like, I guess
make a movie.
Exactly. Just make a movie. Because that's essentially what a lot of these shows are doing too, is because another part of it is the fact that we've moved away from, these 24 episodes, when they were episodic, that made a lot more sense to have a ton of them because, like, if you have a sitcom, they're working individually, and, like, again, for syndication, it makes sense for everything to kind of exist in, like, large numbers. But if you're doing a serialized story and you're trying to stretch it out over 24 hours, that's crazy. Like, that is just way too much story for anybody. Like, even if you were to have, like, 24 issues of a comic, you might not cover as much of that. I mean, like, it's so. I do think that it's just kind of a systematic change that needs to happen. I'd personally love to see these like cut the show order in half. Hell, use what you would have for the second half of a season for another new show that could potentially like look into another character. Certainly, these DC shows pop up all the time. So
there could be other characters.
Plenty of spots.
I just went on a huge long rant. So
No, but I totally agree with that because I'm just starting to notice that recently because I'm binge watching another show from the same network that has many seasons, and so it's sort of. I'm like, oh God, filler episode. Oh, here's the flashback episode where we don't have to pay the actors as much because we're using scenes that we've already done. So, Yeah, so I was just thinking about that all week, so I'm glad you went on the rant because that made me feel better.
It's a good rant.
Thank you, sir. It's a very good rant. We can also talk about Kara and James and how they're besties again, which is like I thought that was really nice because that was stretched out I think in an okay way because it wasn't so much that like I don't like that you're doing this thing that I'm doing, and it's that I want to protect you.
Right.
And like I don't need to be protected, which we usually see the other way around, where it's the guy saying that, and it was nice to. It was a cute little switch over.
I like it.
I thought that was really cool.
I like the reversal, and I think it was it felt like long enough that you kind of missed them being pals.
Yeah.
You know, there's enough cool things happening that it wasn't a total longing for it, but yeah, I felt like I kind of started to miss just their friendship, and it's nice to have it.
I mean, I completely agree because I mean, I will say another thing that we've just been talking about, like in past weeks, is that since James became Guardian, like that has been 90% of his centric stories. Like even though he's like the head of Catco, he's still just doing Guardian stuff, and that's created some conflict between him and Kara that has kind of made them divisive. But now this episode kind of like, albeit through conflict, by having them kind of disagree about Lena and like whether or not she's actually a good person, you brought them back together in a nice way, and so it definitely does seem like they've done some patchwork on their relationship, and now, well, I'm sure Supergirl still doesn't want Guardian to
probably not.
Die.
Yeah.
Not.
Then it seems like they're kind of back on equal footing, which is nice.
Yeah, and is it just me, or did anyone else just really want to see game night? Because I really want to see game night.
Special episode.
Yeah, I know this is weird, but like whenever they have everybody gathered in her house, which, oh my God, I want to live in that. But like the Thanksgiving episode, the first season, and then something happens. I'm like, no, just sit around the table and talk.
Like do it like kind of a bottle episode.
Yeah. I want to see
relax
game
a
night.
minute.
Yeah, would it be wrong like to just have, since we have filler episodes, how about have game night? We just call it game night. We watch them play Settlers of Catan.
I love
fine.
No, I mean, just I'm personally a huge fan of any story that kind of just locks characters in a room. And honestly, like last week when they did kind of the Thing version with the White Martians, like that was kind of a version of it. But like the idea of just sticking characters in a locked room and just saying like, deal with your stuff, because you just gotta deal with it, and like that creates such emotional tension. And like I feel like just the budget of the show being, I mean, having Supergirl, the fact that she can fly and is an alien and punch monsters, like that is kind of a reason to kind of steer away from any kind of that closed door storytelling. But that is the way to like really bring out character, and you get arcs like and deal with conflict. And so I completely agree. I would love to see honestly, not only Supergirl but an Arrow or Flash or any of those shows.
I mean, just even like when the moments they had in the bar today, like that was, I was like, oh, more of them living their actual life. By the way, speaking of actual life, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me at E. Eisenberg on Twitter, and always tweeting about the superhero stuff.
And I'm at Jacob Smith 550.
Just real quick.
And I'm at Jenna Bush, BUSCH, like the beer, not the president. Sorry, there's a reason I say that.
Yes.
There really is. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we think is coming up, because we saw most of the promo.
Yeah, we did get a little cut off again from the TiVo, but again, I guess I'm the only one who's going to be allowed to say this name. Mr. Mxyzptlk is coming, which I've been excited for weeks, because that was honestly is something about especially. I mean, it's especially true for Arrow more than any of the other shows, but like, if you go back to like the 90s, I mean, I always go back to Buffy as the perfect example, but like, the fact that you could have a serialized drama story, but occasionally break it up with a really funny episode. Like, I mean, and Star Trek is another series that does that all the time. But it's just like that. It gives you it completely just changes the audience perspective of the show. It makes you look at the characters a little bit differently if you just put them in a situation that is completely and utterly ridiculous. And I mean, it sounds like we're getting the musical episode that's coming up. It sounds like he's doing something similar with that. But this episode, I mean, Mr. Mxyzptlk is a perfectly chaotic character who just like he's pure it. He does what he wants and he makes reality what he wants it to be. And that's incredible. Like that is so much fun. I don't know where, like, given obviously there's a certain limited budget per episode, so like there's certain levels that you can't necessarily take it. Like, I mean, but legitimately, he could bring Supergirl into our world, and like that could be just like a part of it. But like the fact that there are literally no rules for what this episode is going to be, that's incredibly exciting to me.
I'm really, he's the Q. He's the
yes,
Q.
No, exactly. That is the perfect example. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's Star Trek. Go watch it.
Yes.
It's but I mean, he really is the Q sort of thing, because when you had Q in episodes of Star Trek, like he would take it to somewhere very interesting and different. And this one looks like it's going to be very silly. There's a wedding dress involved.
Right. Yeah, it's a Valentine's Day episode.
Yeah, proposal.
Yeah.
Which is weird because Valentine's Day is tomorrow. But
it'll be like in remembrance of Valentine's.
In remembrance of Valentine's Day. Wait, are they going to do like Galentine's Day too? Do you know that's a thing?
From Parks and Rec?
Yeah, Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Have all the girls
treat yourself.
Get together. Exactly.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's pretty cool. So yeah, but I'm actually excited for next week. I think it's going to be fun.
Nah, I have high hopes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. It's gonna be fun. Regardless.
It's going to be great, and like this and. Like I think we're due for a silly episode.
Yeah.
I think we are.
I mean, and I will say that, like, I mean, I mentioned that Flash is kind of like, because versus Arrow was definitely on the lighter side of things. But like, and to Supergirl's credit, I will say, like, it is within the kind of DC verse, like, it is one of the lighter shows. Like, these aren't like heavy, and they aren't like as Batman inspired as Arrow is. So like, they always do have a sense of levity. But the fact that they are like committing to it and taking it to the full next level. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I like the fact that it's a lighter show. It's nice because it's, you know, I mean, I love me some Batman. I do. I do. I like dark and brooding. All about, but we've had a lot of that. I mean, you know, Riverdale, dark and brooding.
I mean, hell, the entire DC extended universe to date. So yeah.
I thought Riverdale was a joke when I first heard about it. I thought somebody was messing with me. So
which from all reports is working out.
Yeah,
very well.
I haven't watched it yet, but like, I've heard incredible things about it. So
so it's not that I have anything against dark and brooding. It's just when I first went to sit down and marathon Supergirl, I was like, this is so lovely.
Right.
I'm so happy. I feel good about myself and the world. I mean, it only lasted through the episode, but
yeah, sure.
You know, but I like that sort of feel, and you know, just even casting somebody like Ian Gomez, the snapper.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, and for those of you who did not watch the first episode of the after show, he is also the host with his wife Nia Vardalos of the Great American Baking Show, and this is the first week that he did not mention baked goods.
Yes. Sadly.
Yes.
I mean, you did have the baking good, like, you had donuts between Lena and Kara, but sadly, Snapper that Kara was not there to judge them, I guess. But I will say, I mean, if we are just going to be talking about Kara, I like the evolution of that character so far. He's kind of was introduced as being this hard-ass, like, editor at the beginning of the season. He's kind of been softening a little bit over the edge, like, towards the end of where we are this season. Yeah. And, like, the fact that we actually have, like, an honest conversation about confirmation bias. In
I know,
this
right?
That was like, okay.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So,
it was interesting casting with him, too, because I think of him for, like, Cougar Town.
Exactly,
He's sort of, like, bumbling and really sweet, and same thing with the Great American Baking Show, which you should watch, by the way. It's lovely. It's delightful.
you're also, graphic changes.
I know. You're also really going to want to eat stuff after that. But it is just sort of interesting to have him come on as, like, a hard-nosed character who you knew it was going to soften because you don't cast Ian Gomez as a mean, rotten person.
Yeah, and also just if you had him being a mean, rotten person throughout the entire show, it would probably be kind of off-putting. So.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So overall, I would rate this episode around the 7 area.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like I was saying earlier, and also just kind of, the totality, and to bring together all of my conversation here, the fact that we did kind of bring it back to the serialized storytelling, we are kind of seeing, this is the first episode that really picks up from what we saw in the mid-season finale.
Yeah.
And actually, like, we see kind of the trial of Lillian Luthor, who, if I'm just being perfectly honest, I'd like to see more of because I really like courtroom drama, and the fact that we never see it in the movies anymore, I don't know why that genre died all of a sudden, and it doesn't just have to exist on Daredevil. So, I enjoyed the fact that they bring that back. I like the kind of questioning about whether or not Lena is which way she's going to lean. I personally hope that, like, the next, how many episodes are left? 10-ish? I don't even know. Like, I hope that, like, 6 of them totally lead us down, like, she's going to be the most evil person on the show ever, and then, like, in the last 4, she's like, oh, no, she's actually going to help Kara save the day. Because I want this show to just completely mess with us, but...
Yes, and she likes donuts, so she's got to be good.
Yeah, right.
All right, donuts looked amazing. But
what
are your thoughts on the show?
I'd give it about a 7, too, I think. I loved the bar stuff and the coming out scene, and like kind of balancing the big action with the kind of real world levity is nice.
I agree.
Yep.
All right.
Before I know we're running out of time, but I will give a shout out to Lance Aufresser for our DC TV and Supergirl groups on Facebook. Thank you so much for always organizing that. It's fantastic.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
And guys, leave us notes in there, and we will see you next week. Bye.